Cellulite, the bane of almost every woman's existence. That lumpy, bumpy, cottage cheesy look that sometimes is on our thighs, our buttocks, our arms, and even our stomach. In today's episode of The Chalene Show, I'm going to share with you researched, science-proven ways to reduce the appearance of cellulite. And in some cases, some of the things I'm going to share with you today will help you to reduce its appearance permanently. Sleek thighs, wearing a short skirt, and maybe having a smooth bottom is part of your objective. If that's something you're looking to do, you are in luck. Let's get into it. Okay, first, I want to promise you this. I'm not going to give you any of the gimmicks, and there are so many of them out there. In fact, some of the things I thought were gimmicks, I looked for research, and I found it. So some of this stuff that I thought was like total BS actually works in terms of reducing the appearance of cellulite short term. Now, I think one of the most valuable things that I can do for you is help you understand what cellulite is, why we see it, why certain times in our lives and certain people, it's more prominent on especially women and different stages of our lives, and why that is. And the reason why I want to share that with you is because it's going to help you to evaluate other things that you hear. It's going to help you to understand what is a waste of time and what is worth your time. And also, I think it's going to help you to give yourself some grace. So if you were born female, there's a very high likelihood that you have cellulite. Now, I've watched a ton of YouTube videos. I've listened to episodes. I've read research. I've read the books. I've looked up. It's pretty funny. Sorry, fellas, how some of the guys talk about cellulite. I'm like, dude, you don't even know. You don't even know. In fact, one of my favorites on YouTube, I heard him say that cellulite only exists on buttocks and thighs, that cellulite doesn't exist on stomachs and arms and bellies.
Cellulite only occurs in the butt, thighs, and hip. It does not occur in the breast, the arm, or your stomach.
Huh? Dude, what? Then I read through the comments. I'm like, surely someone had to say, well, then how do you explain this? I mean, that's one of the more frustrating areas for me is I do get cellulite on my arms, especially on the backs of my arms. And I know it's something that genetically I'm predisposed to have. So let's talk about that first. Wait, before we start to get into it, let me just explain. I'm in a hotel room and I'm borrowing a friend's microphone because we've just got to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? My name is Chalene Johnson. If you haven't yet subscribed to the show, please make sure you do. It's what all the cool people are doing, and I want to make sure you're part of the in crowd. Okay, so let's talk about cellulite. Cellulite shows up more so for women than men because of the way our connective tissues are different. Oh joy. So men typically have, and I'm going to oversimplify this, like I'm really oversimplifying it, but men generally have web-like connective tissue. So it almost looks like, imagine a fishnet stocking, or imagine a strainer that you would use to strain pasta. Okay. Women, our connective tissue usually runs horizontal, which means that it makes for more space. There's less constriction of any material, including fat and including muscle. So if there's less holding everything in and there's less structure to the connective tissue and the way that it's webbed, the way that it crisscrosses, then if there's less of that webbing, there's going to be more subcutaneous fat that can seep through, which creates those lumps and bumps. Now, men, in particular on their buttocks, the fibers are very different. And so because of that, we're going to see more cellulite on women than we do men, number one. And that should just tell you, like right off the bat, that there's a genetic component to this and a gender component to this. Now, we can't change your gender, but we won't go there in this episode of the Don't you dare try to trick me into it. No, don't you dare. Okay. Assuming that you were a male or a female, assuming you can't change that, assuming that's not something you want to change, then you're just dealing with the fact that we aren't created the same. We're created different. So it just stands to reason that based on your genetics, you might have tighter connections than I do. It's why some women, no matter how much weight they gain, they have no cellulite. I shouldn't say no cellulite, very little cellulite. I mean, and that is a rare situation. And then there are some of us who, no matter how thin you get, no matter how much weight you lose, no matter how much you reduce your body fat, you might still see cellulite. So it's not just about your body fat, and it's not just about your age or any of these things. It's a number of things. So what can we do to reduce the appearance of cellulite? Okay, so first I'm going to share with you some things that are proven to temporarily reduce the appearance of it. Now, this does not eliminate cellulite. It eliminates the appearance of cellulite. So why would you not want to do these things? Well, like, I don't know, maybe you're going on vacation, or maybe you're going to be going to a pool party, or maybe you're going to be walking the Victoria's Secret runway as a model. Like, do they still even do that show with the wings and stuff? Or did that get canceled? I forget. Anyways, I don't know why. Maybe you're wearing some outfit where you're like, I really want to reduce the appearance of cellulite. In that case, the following strategies are going to help. Number one, and I think it's probably the most basic of them, is to reduce water retention. So water retention typically happens from inflammation. Inflammation makes us swell. So when something is swollen, it gets bigger, which means that the differentiation between the lumps and bumps on our skin is going to be more pronounced. If we can remove some of the water that we're holding from inflammation, well, we're going to see a slight reduction in the appearance of cellulite. How can we do that? Number one, you could do a sauna. You could do an infrared light sauna, which is like 2 for 1, and start to sweat out those toxins. You can sweat out those toxins by doing body wraps. Now, it's true, those body wraps can reduce a person's size by a couple of inches in a matter of hours, but just know this, it's coming back. Like, the body, nothing changes about your body fat when you do one of those wraps, but if you're asking, do they really work to reduce the appearance of cellulite? They do, but very short term. Another way to reduce inflammation is with lymphatic massage. Now, I'm a huge fan of lymphatic massage. I've done a whole series of videos of how I use lymphatic massage to take the inflammation out of my face so that I don't look quite so puffy, which frankly, I haven't had to do as often recently since I've taken a break from alcohol. Like, alcohol will really make you inflamed. I mean, hopefully you already know that. So if you're trying to reduce the appearance of cellulite for like something that's going on this weekend, you should probably stop drinking now. Another way to reduce inflammation or the amount of water your body is holding on to is with intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers. So there's another great way for you to regularly, you can maintain that, right? And that's going to help you retain less water. It's going to help you reduce systemic inflammation. And lastly, your diet. If you're eating foods that don't agree with your body, so say for example, maybe you're not celiac, but gluten just doesn't agree with you, you'll know because you're going to be inflamed. Your knuckles might be more swollen. You might find that you have more itises. You feel a little stiffer. There are so many different ways to know that a food doesn't agree with you, but one of the most common ways is just to look on the scale. Like, there are days where you get on the scale and you're like, wait a second, how did I gain 8 pounds overnight? Well, you probably ate something that doesn't agree with you. Now, obviously, we want to eat as few processed foods as possible. That's going to help us reduce inflammation. But even of healthy foods, like for me, quinoa makes me inflamed. For whatever reason, quinoa does not agree with me. So know what foods cause you inflammation. If we're talking about reducing inflammation, say on video, or you've got to do a photo shoot or something of that nature, I'm sure you know this. We all know this. But lighting is everything. Like, in the right light, skin can look smooth or skin can look old and dimply and wrinkly and just not cute. For some reason, the dressing rooms at major department stores have not figured this out. Like, get your life right. I mean, Nordstrom's, come on with this lighting. Why are you making me look like a chubby old lady? Like, get some flattering lighting in here. Can we get some candlelight in here? I mean, you'd sell a lot more bathing suits. You'd sell a lot more clothes in general if we just had flattering lighting in all of these dressing rooms. Anyways, I digress. Another thing you can do that will immediately help to hide cellulite, to reduce the appearance of it, is use a self-tanner. And I'm a big fan of the self-tanners. I'm going to mention a brand right now. This is not sponsored, but I've been saying on my podcast that I've been trying to find an all-natural self-tanner, and I've been sent tons of them. And some of them are like, okay, but the color doesn't last very long, and they don't make me that brown. You know what I mean? Like, they don't work that great. I don't know who sent this to me, so whoever did, thank you. Maybe it was even the company. I don't know, but it's called Elan Pure. This is what they do in videos. Like, it's the ASMR. So anyways, it doesn't matter what tanning lotion you use. If you're looking for one that's all natural, I've tested this one. It's almost empty now. And I really like the color. It's what I'm wearing right now. None of this is a real tan. All of this is faux tan. And I use faux tan, especially on my arms, because I have the appearance of cellulite I do have cellulite on the backs of my arms. It drives me freaking crazy. I hate it, but I don't care. I still wear sleeveless tops because I've got muscles too on the front of my arms. But this does reduce the appearance instantly of lumps and bumps and imperfections. And when I say this, I mean any self-tanner. So insert your favorite self-tanner. Most of them are pretty drying. This one, again, like I'm not sponsored by them, but like, hey, reach out to me, Elon Pure. I really like this color. I really, really like this color. And what I liked about this one in particular is most of them are very, very drying. So it's like you get 2 good days of, skin that looks nice, and then you look like kind of a brown peeling away alligator. Anyways, I love this. Self-tanner is great. And if you don't want to use that's a self-tanner, but you can also use a body blur. I'm a huge fan of the body blur. Now, the body blur, there are so many different brands. I'm going to link a couple of them here that I like. Again, no affiliation with them. I can't tell you if they're completely safe ingredients. You'll have to look yourself. My preliminary research showed that there's nothing in it that's going to kill me. But these are great because you can put them on while you're going out to dinner, and then they wash off the same day. You don't have to wait for them to tan. You don't have to sleep in them. They don't smell, all those things. Body blurs are a great way to hide the appearance of cellulite. But just remember, when you're using those, you should not ever sit on anything white. You cannot wear white, and you should not sit on white. Now, for my girlfriends who are of a certain age, we know who we are. As your skin starts to cooperate with gravity, you know what I'm saying? It starts to move south and it's looser. Looser skin just shows more stuff. All the things you get to look forward to. But skin tightness, skin elasticity can be influenced by collagen. But collagen is not going to, you can't start taking collagen right now and have tighter skin by the weekend. So if you need that kind of immediate boost, I'm going to share with you something that a lot of ladies have told me they love using, but it does come with a downside, and that's these giant tapes. These are tapes that you can use on your inner thigh, maybe on your back. You can use them in areas where you can kind of hide the tape. And basically what you're doing is you're adhering the tape to a part of your skin, and then you're kind of pulling it up and hooking it to another part of your skin. I've tried them. They're very uncomfortable. Some people swear by these. I only wore them once and I was like, no, I cannot do this. I was so self-conscious of the fact that everything was going to come undone. You know what I mean? People there's going to be cellulite springing out everywhere and loose skin. It was going to hit people in the eye or something. I was so uncomfortable, and no. And then it left a tape residue. I thought it was very painful. But when you did put them on, I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I'm sure they use those in Hollywood, etc. Okay, those are all your temporary solutions. All of those things are going to reduce the appearance of cellulite for this weekend, if you need a solution today. But if you want something more permanent, it is in fact possible to reduce the appearance of cellulite no matter how old you are. You can improve the smoothness of your legs and your arms and your buttocks and everything else. So in order to do that, we have to think about why we see cellulite. So we see cellulite when fat cells, which enlarge when we put on weight. So we typically don't get more fat cells. There's only a few times in our lives that we do add additional fat cells, and it is puberty basically and pregnancy for the most part. There's a few other exceptions, but we'll keep it at that. What happens is we've got the same amount of fat cells. They just get bigger and they get smaller. So, just common sense should tell you that if we reduce our body fat, then there's smaller fat cells, which means they're less likely to be squirting out between the connective tissues. That makes sense. In addition, we reduce body fat and improve the overall appearance of our legs when we increase our muscles, right? So when we have more muscle tone, when our body fat composition tends to shift, we start to reduce our body fat, increase our muscles, then what we're going to see is a firmer appearance of everything. Everything is tighter, which means there's less puffy, thick, juicy jelly squirting out between those connective tissues. So reducing your body fat, how do we do that? Well, the easiest way, the most certain way for you to do this is by lifting heavy. Listen, girlfriend, you have to trust me. You need to lift heavy for your lower body. I'm going to show you my legs before and after. it was only once I started lifting really heavy for my legs that I started to see my personal cellulite, which I still have cellulite. In fact, I have like a dimple on my, I think it's my right butt cheek that my sister has and my mom. Like there is a genetic component to cellulite, but even that we can reduce the appearance of. So it was once I started really lifting heavy for my lower body that I saw my legs transform. Like I couldn't believe that I had less cellulite in my 50s than I did in my 30s and my 40s, which is kind of crazy. But it also has a lot to do with hormones. So when we are estrogen dominant, right, when we're carrying more estrogen, those connective tissues get softer. They break down. They're not as firm. And because of that, we're going to see more cellulite. That happens during puberty. That happens during pregnancy. That happens for women who are perimenopausal. And that happens especially for women who have PCOS. So if you've got PCOS and you're like, what is going on with my cellulite? Yeah, it is an estrogen. It's hormones, right? So our hormones also impact our cellulite. If you want to permanently reduce the appearance of cellulite, you got to lift heavy. I've got a video for that. I'm going to show you my complete lower body routine. And girl, when I say heavy, I am not talking about those pink neoprene weights. Put those down. Those are a waste of your time. You ain't got time for that. Like we're talking heavy, right? Like right now, I think I'm up to squatting 300 pounds. Like it's a back squat. It's a hack squat machine. But I started off with 90 pounds and in a year I went from 90 to 300 pounds. And I know people are afraid that that's going to make you bulk up. Listen, it's not true. It's not true. You're going to get leaner and tighter and smaller. It acts like, as my friend JJ Virgin says, muscle acts like your Spanx, like it makes everything tight for you. Okay, now back to hormones. If you're PCOS, if you're perimenopausal, these times in our lives, now pregnancy, just take care of that baby and don't worry about the cellulite. Who cares? You're making a human. Like that's all that matters. We can fix things later, okay? But if you are perimenopausal, you need to know where your hormones are. If you're PCOS, I really want you to seek out the help of a doctor who understands how to treat women's hormones, who actually listens to you, who actually is going to run the test, who's actually going to help you balance your hormones, because we are one big giant hormone. And when estrogen is high, then usually our testosterone is low. Our HGH, human growth hormone, is also low. And all of these things can be increased with strength training and by getting our hormones in check. Of course, we can do this through a variety of ways naturally. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't even want to look into hormone replacement support, I've done a whole video series on how to balance your hormones naturally using supplements and lifestyle adaptations. I will link to that below in my show notes as well. But those two things will help to reduce the appearance of cellulite permanently. Now, this one is going to shock you. This one I thought was a gimmick, and it's not. Fascia blasting. Okay, now, the one thing that people should know about fascia blasting, which is this great little tool, you can find it on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it on their website. Yeah, I've been seeing people talk about this forever. And my massage therapist would always use it on my legs, on any area where things were like kind of tight, connective tissue got really tight, like behind my knees. And she wasn't even using it for cellulite. She was just using it to like get blood flow pumping and to loosen up those connective tissues, etc. Well, if you can do that and make things move a little better, what you're doing is kind of loosening, if you will, the grip that some of those connective tissues have formed where they're holding fat pockets in place. And so I'm going to link to a study. Now, I will say that this study was, I assume, commissioned by Fascia Blaster, but it's a study where they followed people for 12 weeks, I believe, and did all the measurements. And there's that study, not to mention hundreds of thousands of women online, anecdotally, who had been using this thing and they use it regularly. I will say this, that they say once you stop using it, then the appearance of cellulite does oftentimes come back. So you've got to use it on the regular basis. But guess what? The same is true of eating right and exercise. If you stop doing those things, you're going to see a more pronounced appearance of cellulite. What else can you do to permanently reduce the appearance of cellulite? Now, this one is of critical importance, and it's collagen. collagen type 1 and collagen type 2. You need it should be no surprise to you knowing now that cellulite really has everything to do with the gatekeeper. The gatekeepers are our connective tissues. And if your collagen levels are low, which is often the case when women become more estrogen dominant and when hormones are out of whack, you're typically low on collagen. Your body's just not making collagen the way it should, which is why so many of us need to make sure that we are supplementing collagen, and not just for hair and nails and, good skin, but for so many other things, including bone reparation, bone turnover, so that we've got that bone mineral density. We need collagen for so many different functions. Hydration. So if we are deficient in collagen, our bodies are going to hold on to water in the form of inflammation. So collagen's even going to help with that systemic inflammation we experience. In addition to that, adequate levels of type 2 collagen can help with your metabolic processing. Type 1 and type 2 collagen both play a significant role, and the studies are there to support that. I am going to post those for you below, links to those studies so you can check them out. Now, here's what I want to say. I don't want to sell you any collagen powder, but you need a collagen powder. And I don't want you to buy it on Amazon because I care about you and I love Amazon. But unfortunately, Amazon has not figured out the best way to ensure that we're actually getting what we order when it comes to supplements. And there's so many bad players out there who are selling counterfeits, who are selling stuff that you think you're buying it from a credible brand from Amazon, but Amazon just is having a really tough time of policing this stuff. And I've just heard horror stories. I've experienced a few myself ordering things because I was, convenience. So I want you to look for a quality collagen powder. I'll give you a link in the show notes. That'll give you 20% off. If there's a collagen that you are very happy with, just make sure that you're getting both type 1 and type 2. By the way, if the exercise, the nutrition, the supplements, the hormones, like all of that stuff is the stuff that you like really need help with, and you want someone who has been there and someone who actually cares about the science, I would love to invite you to check out Phase It. Phase It is the program that serves perimenopausal and menopausal women. We help you with your nutrition. We help you figure out what supplements, if any, you need to be taking, how to find the best doctor to help you with your hormone support, how to know how to navigate this season of your life. And I'm really excited to tell you that's where my fitness programs are. So if you want to learn how to lift heavy and to get on a walking program that actually gives you energy, check out Phase It. Just go to phaseitup.com. And of course, the link is below in our show notes. We've got a lot of really cool things for you. Anyways, I invite you to check it out. Now, back to cellulite. Oh my gosh, I just remembered there was one more study that blew my mind. That's a temporary fix for the appearance of collagen, but it is the use of caffeine powder. And I was like, there's no way. Like, this is an old wives' tale. No, like there's great research to support it. So 2.5% caffeine powder, which you can get from a health food store. Don't get on Amazon. There's so many places you can get caffeine powder, and you can just mix that with something that's an emulsant, like I would say castor oil, or insert your favorite oil. And that has been shown to reduce inflammation all over systemically. So you can use it on your legs, your thighs, everywhere. And it pulls water out of the skin, which reduces the appearance of cellulite. And it's just a great way to exfoliate. It's all natural. So I love that for us. These tips, all of them, they all work. But ultimately, you want to remember a permanent solution is the way to go.